Okay, today I'm going to be showing you Judy's Magic Cast On, and that's going to be working right back over here. So we're going to have our I-cord edging, our garter stitch sides for the slipper, and then the sole of our slipper, and it's all going to be worked in one piece. We're going to work back and forth in rows until the slipper opening, which is this part here, reaches the desired length. We join the work, so then we work in rounds, and the very toe is the only part we're going to join with the Kitchener stitch. So let me go ahead and show you how to do Judy's Magic Cast On. So you're going to need circular needles, and I used a long cable. My cable's 36 inches. And you're going to need 6 stitch markers, and I would make 2 of them different colors so that you can tell what the beginning of a right side row is and the beginning of a wrong side row. So Judy's Magic Cast On is a variant of the long tail cast on. So you're going to need a long tail. Okay, you're going to place the tail and on the back needle. We're holding both needles together in our right hand, and we're going to make them point to the left. And you're just going to put the yarn over the back needle. The working yarn, what's attached to the ball, is going to be in the back, and the tail is going to be in the front. We want to give them one twist. So we're just going to twist the yarn so that the tail now is in the front and the working yarn is on the bottom. We're going to insert our fingers just like we do with long tail. So the top strand is going to go over the index finger, bottom strand goes over the thumb. Now each finger is going to load a different needle with yarn. So the thumb strand is going to load the top needle, and the top strand on your index finger is going to load the bottom needle. So we already have one on the top, so we're going to load the bottom. So what I do is, and it doesn't matter which way you wrap the yarn around the needles, just that the right strand feeds the right needle. So I'm going to bring my needle over the top and then bring the yarn down between for 2. Okay, so that's 1 and 1. Now the bottom needle is going to go between, and then the string is going to come around to the top. And then I'm going to go over and make the string come down to the bottom. So again, they're going between the needles around the top, and then underneath the needle to go between the needles. So we've done 1, 2, 3. So we're going to go up to 18 on the top, 17 on the bottom. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and you can slide them down your needles. 14, 15, 16, 17, and then we want one more on top. So we want 18 on top, 17 on the bottom. Okay, and now what we want to do is, with our I-cord edging, we don't want there to be a row of purl stitches. We want it all to be knit stitches. So we have to flip our work. So you're going to bring both strands together, and you're going to move them from the back of the work to the front of the work between the needles, just like we do when we're purling. And then we're going to flip the needles over. Okay, so now you see the purl bumps are on top. So we look, and our bottom needle now just got fed, and we know the bottom needle gets fed with the top yarn. So we're going to bring that yarn towards the top, which is our working yarn, and our other yarn goes towards the bottom. And we go back into position. Now we've already got the bottom loaded, so we're going to load the top, and we're going to do 3 more. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3. you should have 20 stitches on the top and 21 on the bottom. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we're going to just let the tail be, and we're going to switch hands. Okay, now the last strand that's wrapped on top is just kind of loose. That's fine, it's going to stay loose. So we're going to remove this bottom needle. Now we want to make sure we always pull the needle up, so that way all the stitches will get fed onto the cable. So we just pull it up so that the cable comes through. And now we're going to knit 3 stitches. So this first stitch is really just wrapped around the needle. So you're just going to go in, wrap around, and then knit it, and it kind of comes out just twisted on your needle. That's fine. You can tighten it up as much as you can. And then we're going to knit 2 more. And we are going to put whatever marker you want to signify the right side. So I'm going to use green. I'm going to put my first marker down. Now we're going to knit 9. And we're going to put a middle marker. Okay, we put one marker in, we're going to knit 1, going to put our next marker in. Now we're going to knit the next stitch, and then we're going to do purl 1, knit 1 for 14 stitches. We're going to run out of stitches here, which is no problem, so let's work till we run out. So we're going to purl and knit 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we end on 7 with a purl. So our next stitch is going to be a knit. So our empty needle now, we're going to put the stitches on. So we're going to pull our cable down so that we can put our stitches on the needle that we just emptied. Okay, so we're going to push that needle down onto those stitches. And then we're going to pull up the bottom needle so that the stitches get transferred onto the cable. And then we're going to continue. So now we're going to knit this next stitch. So this will be 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And we're going to put another stitch marker, another middle marker. Going to knit 1, place our last middle marker. Now we're going to knit 9. So we're basically doing the mirror image of what we did on the first needle. And then you're going to place whatever marker signifies the beginning of your wrong side row. And then we're going to leave the yarn in the back, and we're going to purl-wise, so as if we're purling, move 3 stitches over. Okay, so what we have here, the very top is going to be our I-cord binding. The middle part here is going to always be knit, and it's going to be the sides of our slipper. And then this part down here is going to actually curve and be the bottom of our slipper, so the sole. So from here we're done with this row, and we're going to turn because we're working back and forth in rows. So you'll notice how the yarn is 3 stitches over. That's exactly what we want. So the first 3 stitches of our wrong side row, which we know because it's our purple marker, I'm going to purl. Okay, and then we slip our marker, and we're going to knit to the next marker. Okay, now we're going to slip our marker. We're going to move the yarn to the front as if we're purling, and we're going to slip one stitch as if we're purling, but we're not actually purling the stitch. So the yarn was in the front, bring the yarn back to the back so it gets wrapped around this stitch, and then move your marker. Okay, now what we're going to do is we are going to knit one, and then with the yarn in the back, so right in the knit position, we're just going to slip one. And then you're going to knit one, and you're going to do this until you get over to the next marker. So we knit one, we slip one with the yarn in the back, knit one, slip one yarn in the back, knit one. Okay, so we've knit one, slipped one, knit, slipped, knit, slipped, knit. Okay, now we're going to switch out our needles again. So we're going to pull this strand so that we load the empty needle. And just be careful when you're pulling. Don't pull very fast, just to make sure you don't accidentally pull the wrong needle. And then we're going to slide our bottom needle up and out. Okay, and since we ended on a knit stitch, this very first one we're going to slip, and then we're going to knit, and slip, knit, knit, slip, and we're going to end with a last knit one. Then we're going to slip our marker, bring the yarn to the front, slip one purlwise, bring the yarn to the back, slip our marker, knit the next 9 stitches, so knit to the next marker. We're going to slip our marker. We're going to bring the yarn to the front, and we're going to slip the last 3 stitches. Okay, then we make sure we slip that guy on. We're going to turn again. We don't have to empty our needle because the needle that we're going to use is already empty. And then we're going to knit the first 3 stitches. Let me just get this one back on fully. Got split. Okay. So whenever you see a green, you're going to knit the first 3 stitches. When you see a purple, you're going to purl the first 3 stitches. You're always going to knit in between the markers. So these guys, until we join at the toe, it's all going to be knitting between. We're going to slip our marker. We're going to knit this one. Going to slip, and now what we're going to do is we are going to knit the knit stitches or the first stitch that we did was a knit, and then you can kind of see how there's a strand over here that indicates where the slip stitch was, and we're going to purl those stitches. So we're just doing knit one, purl one all the way around, but you want to make sure that your purls line up with where this strand is. Now you may be thinking that it's, why is the strand so long? When you knit, it's going to shorten that strand. So don't worry about it. Okay, and we're at the end of our needle, so we got an empty needle. We're going to pull our needle through so that we load up that empty needle. And then we're going to unload the bottom needle. And then we're going to continue. So we ended, if we look, we ended with a purl. So we're going to knit the next stitch. And then we purl. It came off, so we're just going to put that back there. So we purl, knit, and again you'll see we're purling the ones that were slipped. Slip our marker, then we're going to knit one. We knit until the next marker. And we're at the wrong side row, so we're going to slip, we're going to leave the yarn in the back, and then we're going to move over 3 stitches purlwise. And then those are the 2 rows that you are going to continue. You're going to continue working those rows until the opening, which is this full opening, is going to measure. I did mine a little bit longer. I think I went to 5 inches instead of 4 inches. But when they mean by opening, they mean half of it, not like from here all the way around to here. Just measure from the back to the front. And then this is the part you can kind of pull it off the needles so that everything's on the cables, and then kind of pinch this and see if you can slip your foot through. And then you're going to join, and that'll be the next part of your work. But this is how it's going to be. So you're going back and forth. You don't have to join the bottom. You'll see that as we keep going, there's inside the slipper is going to be like ribbing, okay? And then the bottom side is going to look like purl bumps, okay? That is actually what you want. If you're knitting and you're going along and it's kind of popped inside out, you can keep it that way. It's not going to matter until we join the foot.